We were both planning some exercise that morning, so I left a note for her as I was getting ready to get on my bike, and I'm getting my shoes on, and all of a sudden there's a flash across both eyes and collapsed. I couldn't move any part of my body. I couldn't move any extremity. Just alone and waiting for my wife to come home.
When I pulled into the driveway, the garage door was open. He said, "Jill, call 911, call 911." And I could see he was gasping for air, couldn't breathe. The ambulance arrives, EMS go right to Ira.
And they knew I was in serious trouble. We arrive at the hospital, immediately into the treatment room. Dr. Novi's on me immediately.
First call to the room, it was a 67-year-old male who was in extreme distress. He was diaphoretic, short of breath. We were able to finally determine that he was suffering from a massive pulmonary embolism, that his left lung was 100% occluded, no blood flow getting to it. His right lung was 95% occluded. At that time, everybody had to come together and get things done quickly. And we knew that it didn't look good, that I thought he had a 5% probability of making it.
Oxygen low, blood pressure dropping. I could actually see her spiking the bag, squeezing it to get the fluid through the line quickly, adding it to my IV line, and getting it to me as quickly as she could. I'm immediately worried for my wife. And I say, tell my wife I love her.
And he said, "You could tell her yourself. She's right here."
At that point, it's getting a little dark. I look at Dr. Novi and I say, "Hey man, I'm going out," because it's getting fuzzy.
He looked up at me and he said, "I'm going. I'm not going to make it." I grabbed his hand and said, "No, you're not. You are going to make it." Now, we don't have the technology here to open those arteries back up. But because of HCA, we do have that technology available to us just 11 miles down the road at Fawcett Memorial Hospital. And by the time we transferred Ira there, everything was ready and set to go.
So when I looked at the images, I realized he has massive clots going into all the branches of both lungs. Technically, there is no good blood going into his lungs at all. And that is a near fatal condition.
He's not breathing, he's not exchanging any oxygen, he could go into cardiac arrest. So what we ended up doing was a procedure known as ECOS. We placed a catheter directly above the clot. The catheter has an ultrasound tip and it vibrates at the same frequency that the clot develops, and it'll start breaking up the clot.
So that procedure was considered successful, and I was transferred to intensive care at that point.
People have the perception you have to go to bigger hospitals in larger cities to get good medical care, and that's not the case.
We are supported by an amazing larger HCA company with additional resources to take the best care of our patients.
Our current administration, they realize how important this is, and they've supported us 100%. Taking care of people like Ira and the results makes life worthwhile for me. I happen to be over 65. I can retire tomorrow, but I like what I'm doing.
This is why we give 150% of our day to take care of the sick patients, sometimes with a good outcome, sometimes not.
And sometimes, like Ira, they just come back to say thank you. And it's everything. You know that all that you put up with to go to school, all that training, that's what it's for. That is why we are here.
A lot of people have jobs where they're sculpting something and then you see the sculpture afterwards, but in what we're doing we don't really get that. It's good to get to see the fruits of your labor.
So for them to come back and say thank you to us, that's amazing. That's what makes me a nurse and make me come here every day.
What I am more than anything is grateful. Just grateful for the treatment I had at every level. Englewood, Fawcett, but also from HCA Healthcare, who had that lab ready and waiting for me. And now going forward, my wife and I are enjoying our time together again. Now I look out the window and I see the wind blowing through a palm branch somewhere out there. and I see it differently. It's more beautiful than ever. We carry on from here.
There is world-class care happening and available right here, and Ira's living proof of that.